Welcome. First, I want to say we back, baby. But I want to say welcome to the OTP podcast where we bring you unscripted and unfiltered football chat. I'm your host, O, joined by my co-host, Mr. Y and Chinny. How you guys feeling?
Not as good as you, boy.
Oh, sorry. Happy New Year's. Happy New
Happy
Year's.
New Year, people. Right, other than football, bro, life is great, bro. But yeah, I'm saying to you, on the pitch, it's a different story. But yeah, man, we're good, bro. We're happy to be back.
All good. I mean, I'm buzzing. Obviously.
You know what? It was hurting already because I already know what I'm going to talk about. My soul is just hurting. I'm not in a good place right now.
You know what's funny though? Yeah, I'm curious to see if that smile's that large after AFCON, isn't it? That's what I'm wondering, isn't it? Egypt all the way. Can we go, baby? Egypt to the final.
I mean, I'm not one of those guys who's gonna be like, yeah, Egypt. Come on, I'm gonna be rooting for Egypt too.
You lie. You lie, bro.
No, it is though. Do you know what's funny? I can't lie to you. I genuinely feel like we can get it together without him, without his absence. Yeah, obviously, it's a big like loss. But I feel like no one's playing that great for me to say like, oh, you know, we're like we can't get it together. Like I don't think anyone's running away with it. I don't think, you know, like when I remember last one, I was like, I'm a bit nervous because, you know, blah 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 blah. But I just feel like right now, I don't think anyone's playing like that great or playing whatnot. So it's kind of like on the day, I feel like we got, if it clicks,
I feel like
it will click.
Back, bro. We know the man, the myth, the legend, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean, T2 and his little helper, right, are back, bro. We got Haaland coming back, and then we got the machine and KDB, bro. And that is a scary sight for anybody looking after anybody competing for that league.
You're talking about somebody that's lived it multiple times, bro.
Oh, like, yeah, no, I hear it.
Nah,
I'm just saying to you.
Year after year. What's this? The 9th year of living it.
We didn't have to talk numbers, but I'm genuinely. I still think City's gonna win it. I always said this. I stand on what I say. I think we're playing out of our skin this season. I still don't think we're playing great, but neither I don't think any team's playing amazing. I think it's a good run. It shows that we are in the right steps. I feel like when you think about signing a whole new midfield and not playing a false nine, you know what I mean? When we first started the OTP podcast to now, when you think about, we're talking about not having number 6, Endo's looking a lot better. I feel like, you know, it was always our attacks taking us out. Our midfielders are playing much better. I'm more confident. I don't feel like it's an overachievement. I feel like everyone's just not playing great, and we seem to be showing some snippets in our attacks. Just get some man like Salah's just doing what he does in it. So that's,
you know what, boys, yeah? Sorry to interject, but whilst we're here, we might as well just start off with the first subject, because we're already touching on the first.
Before we even start off with the first subject, I'm already getting tweets. Unfortunately, I can't post them live on right now.
Yeah, so
people saying they need to humble O. We need to humble O. I wasn't going to get too excited.
You know, I smile regardless. I smile through the pain. I smile through the great times. You know what I mean? I've laughed. I cried. You know what I mean? I shed a tear. You know what I mean? With my team, I've seen it all. I've done it all. I'm just happy to be in the mix, because I didn't expect it.
Listen, without sounding like a hater, I'm gonna keep it all.
I mean, that means you are gonna say
no. Listen, I'm gonna sit here as somebody who's been critical of Klopp, and I'm gonna give Klopp his credit. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and you know what I mean? Like, what I'm wanting to change my mind when there's evidence, when there's data to show me otherwise. I'll change my mind. Yeah. So Klopp has done a magnificent job, right? And he's actually surpassed what I thought he would do this season. So I'm gonna have to give a shout out to him, right?
Is there a but?
No, secondly, no, there's no buts.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, there's no buts, because that then a but always takes away from what you're trying to say. I ain't trying to take nothing away. I've got it wrong. He showed me otherwise. I hold my hands up, and that's cool. That's what football's about. We all have an opinion.
See this energy, Mr. White.
Hold on. Yeah. Secondly, right, the whole Salah thing. What I will say is whilst everyone hasn't been doing what they should be doing, like you said, like no one looks outstanding, I will say this. Salah, Trent, and Virgil are your 3 main guys that have been carrying you this season. Even when you look at that Liverpool, even when you look at Liverpool against Newcastle, right? I know Darwin had his chances and Salah had facilitated a few of those, and then the goal that gets you ahead with the Gakpo chance, that's all Salah from the outside of the boot pass, to Gakpo, where he scuffs it and it goes in.
That's a good point, though.
If he goes
Trent combo. The Trent combo is good because a lot of people on Twitter, and I know Twitter, I feel like Twitter is a unicorn, a place that's in people's heads sometimes, the way they can be like, people see unicorns and these random stuff. But my thing is like, I don't think people's mentioned Trent in that mix, in a positive, in that sense, because everyone wants to say, he can't defend him. We know he's not the best defender, but he's been so pivotal to how we've played going forward. And I think people are starting to forget that. And especially in like the Newcastle game, I think people are looking at it and forgetting that like Trent is actually huge for us. Like, and he's played a huge part.
Yeah, and also, sorry, that's what I forgot with Alisson. I can't forget Alisson. You know what I mean? The man behind the man in the sticks. Can't forget Alisson. But when Salah goes, if he goes to the final, I think he'll be out to mid-February, let's say. That's in those games there, I don't know who on that right side, right? If from your attacking perspective, I'm just talking from that attacking perspective. So you're looking at the likes of Jota, Nunes, whoever fills in Harvey Elliott. I don't know if they will be able to give you what Salah gives you in those games, because he, to me, is a difference maker. And I look at him in the same way I look at the KDBs of this world, in terms of when you have them, you have match winners, and you have people that can change the game with either making, by taking control of it, by actually going out there and scoring, or creating assist, right? Or just even attracting players. So that is why I was the whole, the little remarks about Egypt and stems from, because I think if you do lose someone of that caliber, we're talking about one of the greatest African players to play in the Prem, right? One of the best right wingers to ever grace the Prem. Right.
I watched Liverpool this year, yeah, and it just annoys me like that. From maybe after like the first 5-6 games, the attacking tempos come back, and to be fair, with the attacking talent that you have, it was really hard for you to lose. It was just whether the midfield can start putting in work to start finding them, because we all know that Salah's going to carry the rest through, and the rest are going to add in their little bits. But what annoys me is that I already knew that, but then your defensive structure and the defense is still poor. Like, they can still be got at, but you lot are just playing and just outscoring teams, and it's really irking my soul. Because you're like, I hear you screaming Van Dijk's back.
Whoa! No, my comment was, this is the closest to Van Dijk we've had. I liked Van Dijk's back comments because I had this conversation with my own fans. They said Van Dijk, but I said I think he's still, him and Joe Gomez. I said him and Joe Gomez are not where they were that season. Those 2 seasons. However, this is the closest we've had to them two, and I can take. I'm enjoying it. He's
that's a fair statement. I can't disagree with that. I think that's fair. I
don't think he's back.
Obviously, physically, I don't think he had the speed that he once had. I don't think he's as quick across the ground as he once was. But in terms of how solid he's been for you overall and how much of a leader he's been, this is the best Van Dijk we've seen since the operation. So I can.
And Gomez, shout out to Gomez as well.
Gomez has been solid too. So I agree with what Chinny said. I'll keep it 100 though. I don't think what you lot are doing is sustainable in the long term. And this is obviously predicated on if we expect City to do what City do, because of this whole machine for machine. You lot will out-machine most people, but there are games where, like the Fulham game, for instance, where it could go the other way, right? Like, obviously, you picked it up and you got your 2 late goals in that game and won yourself the game, but that game can easily go the other way, right? And that is where I look at it and I'm like, ooh, how sustainable is this over 38 games? I mean, you can do this for 25, 30, but then there are going to be games where you've got points. And if City being, I think I saw something about City's next run of games until March, I think it was, like, they don't play anybody in the top half to them. So they're going to, like, if you look at City and you look at the fact that KDB's back along with Haaland, they've still got Doku to come back as well. And you look at the fact that they're going to be playing bottom half teams. And historically, what evidence shows us that they go on runs after this, after the New Year's. I don't know if your type of football is sustainable. And I'll keep that same energy in my club as well. And I've kept, I'm not picking and choosing.
It only took him 10 minutes to go talk about Arsenal when it's
But you know what? It's the fact that I'm just trying to highlight that I'm not just saying Liverpool, right? Because you know what I mean. Fans will do that. They'll say one thing about another club, but they want to apply the same metrics to their own.
Oh, you're right. Chinny said the same thing a long time, like literally before we started. But that the way we play, the way it's not. I remember that conversation about it not being sustainable, and that's why if you ain't trying to change
the only thing that I can say is that if you lot don't care about winning the Europa League and you play certain players in that competition that are not going to play on the weekend in the league, that is sustainable.
It can work.
That then
but
becomes.
We're not going to do that. We're going to attack every cup because again.
But is it though, Chinny, though? Because if you think about it, I don't think we're not talking about their energy levels. We're talking about defensively and how much. I think over the last month they've been a bit better defensively. If I'm to be honest with you, I think against United, Arsenal, you were a lot more solid. And
that was actually my question because we were saying that Van Dijk, like your defense is performing better. Kanate is doing well. You got Van Dijk on the more or less coming back to like a very serious standard, and you have injuries at fullback. Trent obviously goes missing in defensive areas sometimes, but that's still not causing you a problem. But the worst thing is the biggest miss that Liverpool will ever have is Alisson in goal. I don't think it's your centre backs because the moment that Alisson got injured and you had to play whatever the hell his name is, Keller in goal, automatic. There were panic stations. I think who did you play straight away and he conceded 2 crazy goals?
Fulham.
It was Fulham the first game.
It was Fulham, I believe so. And then he came back for Palace. And then he made those mad saves.
There's a very big problem. Not that I think he's going to get injured again. I feel like he's more important to your defensive unit than a Van Dijk.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that was that saying though.
Alisson's won you. I don't know how many points Alisson's won you. I mean, I remember there was this whole metric here. And again, I know you're going to talk about Arsenal, right? But I remember like Sky Sports talk about how many, when Arsenal signed Czech, there was this whole like thing they put up about how many points a goalkeeper earns you. And I think already Alisson's already outdone what a goalkeeper is expected to get you in terms of points.
We had a stat like I think it was last season before. I remember came across a stat like that, well, how much like from goal scoring opportunities has he like saved and all of that stuff, and it was amazing. It was like so high, and it just shows you he's like having again the type of style and the type. It's crazy because it's almost like I remember when we played for the Isaac finish, if you remember, they criticized Alisson because he was almost like, how did he not save that? Whereas I felt like that was a good chance. Most goalkeepers would concede it, but it's like it was an Alisson error, and that's how we look at Alisson as a different type of keeper. I think it's more like I when it's 1-on-1, I still expect Alisson to save it. Like in most times, when he concedes, I'm like, how do you concede that? Like, do you know what I mean? So it's just
the bar from Alisson is higher than most, basically. In other words, like, and he's phenomenal. He's probably going to go down as one of the best goalkeepers to grace it because, like I said, I can remember games this season like Crystal Palace. I remember thinking I think towards the end they had like a chance from a corner. He makes a big save, and I think he is clutch, bro.
We can go back to when we won the Champions League. That the Napoli game, he made them 2 quick reactive. He's literally, because we goes from that save to a Liverpool goal, or we go from Liverpool winning 1-0 with last 10 minutes or last 5 minutes or 3 minutes, and he's made a quick double save, or he goes from playing United and hoofing the ball down and we getting a goal at United. So he's so instrumental, like to how he played. Like again, it's panic stations. And
now that you lot are top of the league, obviously January, fresh into January, got a little gap, little gap. But you got a little something. You're obviously losing Salah to AFCON.
And Endo.
You're losing Endo as well. So you're using two players.
Szoboszlai is out as well, hamstring injury.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be out that long. He was my pick to play right to fill in for Salah. He's got some experience playing right with.
Hamstring injuries usually you're looking at least 2 or 3 weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I didn't think it was
depending on the grade as well.
Was so serious before, but it's looking like we're gonna be out with all 3. He was my favorite to play right wing.
You got Arsenal obviously in the FA Cup this weekend. Only God knows how that's gonna be, but we'll talk about that later. But
I'm dying to know though if who's gonna rest or what we're gonna do.
Klopp ain't trying to. He ain't trying to come to Arsenal and Arsenal to turn up 1 week and get turned over. He's not on that. He's not on that.
I mean, like the squad. Our squads, but not ours. But my squad kind of picks itself. Like
he's coming with first team. He's coming with his first team, and he started strong. Like, you don't want to come to Emirates and Arsenal may turn up 1 week, and then you get banged out. That won't be fun still. And I don't think Klopp will have any of that. He's not that type of manager. He's like a Mourinho.
We know Kelleher's going to start.
Well, to be fair, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you lot have got a similar gap to us in terms of Premier League games after this FA Cup game. So I can imagine you lot going strong anyways. I know
you are right. You're
and I don't think you lot play to either the 19th or the 20th as well. So I don't see Liverpool going in.
I think we got an extra day. I think you guys are Sunday, we're Monday. I might make that.
There you go. No, we're Sunday. We're playing Palace. We're playing Palace on a Sunday, on the 20th.
Okay, yeah, we got.
So you got a big gap anyway. So I can imagine you're not going strong. Obviously, no Salah, no Endo.
But Salah gone yet? Because
both.
He went after he was going after the.
You know, there's been some players like
Oh no! It's going after the Spurs game.
Yeah, but that's because that's all them. That's them doing the madness, isn't it? But Salah was going right after the Newcastle game. That's why I was.
And also for us, El Nene's gone. Not that he's a player or anything, but I think Egypt are calling up their players early. And I'm just using El Nene as a thing because I think he's left as well. So I think that's just Egypt's president. But I think one thing I do want to talk about in Liverpool is Darwin Núñez, captain chaos, but can't convert for nothing. How do you feel
about nothing?
I'm taking him every day, and at Arsenal, I'm taking him all day, every day. Cause your chaos, miss your chances, let it hit the keeper because you're gonna let someone else score.
No, bro, but let's keep it 100 though.
It's frustrating though. As a fan, it's very frustrating. You know, it's nice to watch when you're on the outside, but when you're neutral fan, but when you're sitting there and you're watching it, especially, and then what makes it even worse, and then you know he's had a stinker. I don't care. He's caused chaos. He's got the assist, whatnot. I send you to score goals. Cool. My thing is, and then you switch on Twitter and then you hear fans going, "Don't worry, it will come," or "Don't worry." It's the worst place, bro. I'm like, what are you talking about? He had a shit game. Say he had a shit game.
You know what? Do you know why I'm less worried about him than I am for like my own team at Arsenal? So we have Jesus, who's been in the league. He already knows what it's about. He's been missing chances. It's not coming. He's never gonna be that 20-goal, 30-goal season man. Nuno, this is his first year. Second year, coming from Benfica, where he was only really hitting there for 1 year. He's got time, and he literally has everything else apart from that.
He said he's got time, but if we want to win something, if you want to this is an improvement. But what kind of improvement are we looking for? Like for me, if he had like 1 or 2 shots every game, and that's different. He has enough chances, and what makes it worse is, I think he's punishing us because he'll score a bad boy goal, and then 1-on-1 keeper he's missed. So for me, it's crazy. And then what comes with that as well is comes with the chaos, which I do love that, and I do think he'll come good eventually. But my thing is, at what point and what time? Because we're in the second half of the season now. So are we going to then give him a third year, and then we need goal scorers to score?
You're going to give him as much time as long as you're winning. As long as you're winning, you're going to give him time.
But let's also look at it objectively, right? Because although we like Núñez's profile, what he does, right? You got to sit here and keep it 100, right? That level of non-clinicalness in front of goal will cost you at some point, right? Because he had how many one-on-ones, right? And yes, we talk about Jesus and whatever, but also you got to look at what Darwin Núñez was brought in for. At Benfica, he was looked at as a striker. When he came to Anfield, right, in the Champions League, that was the whole point of it. It wasn't because he was some creative magician or he creates a lot. It was because he looked like a finisher. Last season, he got into lots of goal scoring opportunities, but he failed to convert. We kind of chalked it up to, all right, he's adjusting, he needs time, etc. But when you're at a big time, when you're at a big club, you don't get time. And when a team has invested that much money for you, you can be either instrumental or detrimental to their success. Do you know what I mean? Like that Newcastle game, right? Had things gone a different way, you'll be looking at Nunes and be like, well, you've had 2 or 3 1-on-1s and you failed to put one away, and that's the reason why we're struggling, right?
It's very theoretically, and if this happened and if this happened, but it didn't happen. He causes chaos, and then Klopp goes, you know what? He's run the defense ragged. Let me throw on Gakpo and Jota, who I know will finish the game. That's what he does. Or you know what? These lot have scored. Now let me cause some more chaos with Nunes.
Yeah, but a person that, okay, he's not gonna be. I like watching him play. Like, he's frustrating in a sense of, like, you know, he has the chances or whatnot, and then he'll score a bad boy goal and whatnot. And I love his confidence. I love the way he plays. I like the way he plays. My thing is, my only annoyance with him is I feel like if he didn't, you know, he likes to come on the ball so much. Pause. He likes to get the ball from short a lot. So he will stand in front of Diaz or whatever and end up being in his space. And then we like to cross a lot more, so he's not in the box and stuff like that. So I feel like if he took that element out of his game a little bit, and instead of like running to other people's spaces and stayed central a bit more and tried to play a little bit, you know, he likes running behind. I reckon he would get a lot more chances.
This is this is what coaches are there to do. Klopp and his coaches are there to coach this out of a player.
Because he's always on the wing trying to get.
He's obviously a very raw player, not like a super technical player. I don't know how he's come up through. Like,
he's got 1-2 step overs.
No, not that.
Like, them step overs are bandulu, bro. Them step overs are uncomfortable.
He's like, he's white PMP. He's white PMP, in it.
Well, he definitely is. But so, all I'm saying is, yeah, like when you really deep it, you sign a man who's shown that he's a good finisher, right? Like that's what he looked like, right? For Benfica in the Champions League, he looked like a gunman, right? And then you put him in front of goal, and he's failing to give you what you essentially signed him for. So you have to naturally ask questions. It's not saying that he can't reach that. But
why
remember,
do you have the same energy for the United manager? Because you gave it, or the same energy you're applying could apply for the United.
No, but what I'm trying to say to you,
time spent should be doing this. Expectations. It's not his first season, and you still give some more time. You want to change up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
No, not really, because we can talk about United afterwards. Yeah, but essentially what I'm saying is when you're at Liverpool, and Liverpool are a big team, and I expect more from Liverpool, right? And you're a striker, and you've been bought in for big money.
No,
you have to give. There's a ROI, return on investment. What are you bringing to this team thing? Because you are a striker, you're supposed to score goals. That is what you're judging.
In chaos here and doing what he does.
Bro, this chaos thing is a joke.
No, it's not a joke. This is
it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
If you're on the pitch as a Liverpool player, if you're on the pitch as a Liverpool player, you love him.
You're saying, yeah, go. You
love him.
Salah loves him.
If you think that is not helpful, that is so helpful. He's running defenders ragged, and he's moving, creating all this. And Salah's saying,
I think both arguments are
Salah's saying, thank you. I'm going to score some goals because you're doing all of this for me.
No, I hear that. But essentially what I'm saying to you is that is one part of the game. But again, like we criticize players on our team, for instance, right? In terms of, like, for instance, players like Jesus will get things because they do well outside the box, but when they're inside the box, they don't deliver. That can be, if your team fails to win, right? Liverpool are fortunate in the sense of right now, it's not costing you. So therefore, conversations ain't been had. Right?
They're not fortunate because they know that they have Salah.
No, but what I'm trying to say to you, they are fortunate because if for one reason or not they don't win the game, they're not going to look at Salah and blame Salah, right? They're going to look at the person who's missing those opportunities, right? Well,
how do you feel?
Nah, I'm not blaming Salah. I can't lie to you. I'm not blaming him.
If you're
I start saying, he's allowed a bad game. I got every excuse to Salah. He's allowed a bad game. But no, I definitely agree with Mr. White.
But don't you think context applies in the sense if Salah don't get...
And the stats ain't statting, and he needs to score more goals. Will it come? Yes. If we ever do pay that money, it's obviously because we've won a Champions League or the Premier League or something. That's how we end up paying Benfica that big money. So again, if we do pay that big fee, it will be worth it in the end because we would have won something. However, before we signed him, he was somebody who I genuinely didn't want because I wasn't convinced on his playing style and everything. But we got him here and we support him and whatnot. I just don't know if sometimes I feel like it could be a game where he better come off the bench, Sometimes a game where he's better to start because he said he runs them ragged, but sometimes he's a breath of fresh air when he comes on the pitch and just causes hell. But sometimes I like that help from the start. But he's got to be doing more. He's got to be converting his chance. Conversion's got to be a lot better, especially with some of the chances he's having. He's having some really good opportunities and missing the target. He's not hitting the target half the time.
I feel both. Yeah, I understand that he needs to score more. He's a striker. That's what he's there to do. So yeah, he has to score more. Sometimes there's different players that bring different stuff to the like, you know, like a lot of players will say, or Michael Owen will say, when I played with Emil Heskey, it was great for me because he done this, which means I could do this.
And that's what everyone says about Bobby.
Oh yeah, he did this, so I can do this.
But you know what the difference is that I don't think Emil Heskey, for instance, was the bagsman or came in to be the bagsman of the team, because he was supposed to. If you wanted a Firmino, a facilitator, that's not why you signed Darwin Núñez, because it's not
but
about.
How do you know that is hearsay?
No, but I'm just saying to you that he's not. We're talking about what he does with chaos, and one of the things I don't want to do is this whole revision thing, all kind of like when things do happen. Like, let's say, for instance, Liverpool were to drop points, for instance. Now all of a sudden we're having this conversation. It's almost like I'm looking at it and I'm talking about objectively before it is a problem, because it can be a problem. I don't want to be like, oh wait. Rather than just waiting for it to happen, or if it does happen and be like, oh, I never saw it happen. It's like you can call something out before it takes place because you can preempt.
No, it's happening. We've dropped with his games where he's missing, we've drawn or whatever. It's happening.
Yeah, like Luton. Right? I think Luton's an example, right? Luton, he missed a sitter, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and you failed to win that game. Now again, we can't sit here and blame Salah because it wasn't Salah that missed that chance, for instance. So you can't walk away from that game saying, oh, it's Salah's fault. You turn around and be like, well, we spent 60, 70, whatever, however much it is on this guy who was known as a goal scorer at Benfica. And he's failing to give us the edge because we're trying to compete with the very best in Man City. But shout out Salah as well, man, because I think he had he got a personal XG record of 2.74 against Newcastle. Your XG against Newcastle was insane.
It was a good game, though. It was a good game.
Yeah, it was, man. Shout out Isaac as well, man. He done his thing.
It was a good game.
It was a handful.
It was a good game. I liked the way the team played. I was very much like, it's one of them games where we should really pepper them and it's going to be a draw in it. And then obviously conceding straight away after finally scoring. But I think the scores was fair for what it was. I think Newcastle got a lot of work. And I'm happy because I thought, like I said, Newcastle fans, some of them just, but I feel like overall performance, it was one of our best performances in the sense of attacking and creating chances. And the goal expectation was very high. So all it took was Salah to change his boots, eh?
A quick one on Eddie Howe. Anyone want to mention anything on Newcastle, Eddie Howe? Feel sorry for him a little bit with all the injuries.
I don't.
That squad is decimated.
I don't.
I'm talking about him as a manager in terms of what he's working with now.
No, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry.
That gets like that,
man. Welcome to playing in multiple competitions and having to compete. It happens.
Yeah. Well, there we go. They move them, boy. No sympathy from this panel, boy. You man are heartless. Well, man, to be given his P60, yeah? Say no more.
I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. But they'll spend money anyway.
We get to talk about my favorite topic. We need a United fan on this pod. Just saying, just putting it out there. We actually need United. I need someone to actively be able to just get every week.
All right, you know what? I want. Apparently, I'm the United correspondent on this channel. So let me talk. Yeah, right. I said at the beginning of the season, my expectation for United at where they are is to establish a better brand of football and to consolidate.
The man starts A and B and whatnot. You know, a man's got documents.
No, right. Those are the two things I said, right? Which I think is not a bad expectation, right? To go in, consolidate where you are, because when you become a top 4 team, like for instance, what we've seen with Newcastle, right, it's very easy to kind of fall back down the pecking order and then not be amongst it, right? So yeah, you've done it for one season, but consolidate it. Make sure that you're there again. That's the minimum. And B, get your philosophy established, because last season you weren't playing the way that you were supposed to be playing. That was the minimum expectation, and he hasn't done that, right? I didn't want to sit. I could sit here and say he should challenge for a league, but I didn't think that was I could say that just to banter United fans, but I didn't think that was realistic.
It's not realistic because of what they've done. What he's done as a man, like he hasn't done much. So it's not realistic in that terms. He hasn't, like you said, he hasn't implemented a philosophy. He hasn't consolidated himself, or they haven't even looked like putting himself in that top four.
I'm saying this is before Ball, but I'm talking before Ball was
kicked. Better than Oli when Oli
they haven't even looked that way. Yeah. But if we're talking about money being spent, there's no way that you should be allowed to do that and not be considered to be in a title race.
But you know what? I think there's this. I think look, we all understand football. I think if we equate just money spent to where you should be, then I think that's also a lazy argument. Because I also look at, there's ways in which you spend money. We've all sat here and criticised Chelsea for how they've spent their money, right? Because they could have done their business a lot differently, spent £1 billion and structured it into 3 or 4 game changes, right? Added some youthful players amongst there, and then also built a squad that are capable of competing now. Instead, they've signed, kids here to satisfy Prince Andrew. That's what they've done, right? So that is what they've done, yeah? So let's keep it 100. So when I'm looking at United, I'm looking at United's business. I said before, ball was kicked, not with, like first pod, right? Before the ball was kicked, I said to me, the minimum ambition of United right now is to build on what they've done, to at least consolidate.
That's not fair. That's just because you've seen what they've signed, and you, as like a football fan or just knowledgeable football person yourself, has looked at it and said, this is not going to work out because they ain't signed right.
No, it wasn't nothing to do with that. For me, it was to do with, I looked at it very similar to how I looked at what happened at Arsenal, for instance, yeah. And I saw when Arteta first came in and was playing football that didn't look like his brand of football with a back five. I looked at the football that Ten Hag was playing last season, and it didn't look like what you'd expect his philosophy to be, right? What he's done at what he's done at Ajax, for instance.
But he did say that he's not doing the Ajax thing at United.
But he didn't say that at the beginning of the season. He said that halfway through this season, right? Yeah. So I'm talking based on what we knew at the beginning of the season. So I just said expectation is last season you would get results. Cool. You got to where you wanted to, Champions League, won a cup, well done. Okay. Now put your stamp on this team and get to the Champions League and maybe try to grab a cup. That should be what you're looking to do. Right? Because then that gives you a platform to go out and then compete with the best. Right? If you ain't got no philosophy, if you ain't got no style of play, if you're still, you know what I mean, just doing a results-based business thing, it's not going to work long term because there's nothing to work off. So that was why I set that boundary for them, or I set that kind of step for them. I could be like a typical fan that just wants to.
Is it fair? On other like top managers and the clubs, is that fair that they get to be judged on that, but other teams are going to be judged differently?
I think it is fair because I think it is fair because, for instance, I look at Tottenham in the same way that I look at thing. In fact, I'm very impressed with what the job has been done at Tottenham because of how the philosophy has been established. But again, I don't expect Tottenham to go out here and achieve Champions League. I think regardless of how well they played, if they do that, and they look like they could do that this season, that they've had a very fantastic season, barring the change that's gone on and what's happened. But if they had just established either a philosophy of football and managed to integrate their players into understanding what the manager wants, as long as they got some sort of European competition, I thought that would be a decent season for Tottenham, considering they lost their best player. So I don't just pick and choose on who I set these standards for.
If you go into a job that's not football, and someone gives, or let's say you're into housing, and someone gives you 100 mil to go and buy, or let's say they give you 10 million pounds, go buy a house. And they give everyone, and then they give other people 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. You expect the person that has the 10 million to make sure that they buy the better house and they make bigger profits on that better house.
But by your analogy, I can say the same thing. If you give money to them to build a house, for instance, yeah, the way in which you still have to build a house, the way you still lay foundations down, the way you have to create that thing,
that's not the person that gets £1 million, that's not their problem.
What I'm trying to say to you is that however way you do it, the problems are still the same, right? The way in which you build a house are the same. You have to lay the foundations and create it from the ground up. You can't build the roof before you lay the foundations, right? United have to build something to sustain something. Even
All
when
right,
you look
do you
at
think
Klopp,
they're anywhere closer to building
no,
that foundation?
and that's why I've been.
Do you think they've taken? Do you think they're they're stagnant, or do you think they've taken steps back?
Bro,
Like,
and this is the biggest criticism to him. He hasn't established. Remember, I didn't create these grandiose kind of ideas of where they should be. My thing was brand of football, consolidate top four. No brand of football, worse than they were last season. The camp look unhappy, right? Out of the Champions League. So if you look at it, right, sitting ninth, I think they are, or no, they're eighth, I think they are. So when you look at it, it's worse. And I said to you, and for me, that is why Ten Hag should be sacked. Because
I mean, it is possible to get that money and just buy and win straight away. That is very possible.
That is, but again, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do a Conte thing, where you're building, where you're signing players for the now, but then maybe in a year or two that all goes to shit. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to try and build a long-term sustainable kind of way of methodology of doing it.
I mean, he spent enough to be further ahead in this development.
Oh,
he spent enough,
bro.
More than
I'm saying to you, if let me ask a question: if Man United right now were in the top four, right, or just below the top four, right, we're playing good football, the criticism wouldn't be why are United not challenging for the league?
It would, because there's always something to criticize. So the fact that they're not doing it now gives us more things to criticize or to lay off. But if they were just playing good football and outside of the top four, we would find something else.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be enough.
The next thing would be, okay, you're playing good football now, but you spent this money on this many players, and you're only there.
No, but the reality is that if they were just outside the top four, but fighting for top four, the reality is that they are where they should be, because of where they are in their process, right?
So I think you've given him more credit for more time for the process. And I think he should be a lot further ahead in his process.
No, but bro, I think but this is the thing. I'm not giving him any time now. I said he's regressed. I'm saying to you.
No, but you said like he needed more from the start, and I felt like this season was a
Champions League,
like a make or break season, and halfway through the season, he said not even halfway, only just halfway, and it's absolutely embarrassing season for them. So
the only difference in their process to like Arsenal's or Liverpool's this year, for instance, is the fact that he hasn't implemented a philosophy.
But that's a huge thing. You know, when you say he only hasn't done that, like I'll give you an example. When Klopp came into Liverpool, right, first season, you could see what he was trying to do. Them players were running and running and running. Yeah, I mean, they had their inhalers on. They were. You know, I'm saying to you, Mo Farah, that's what they were doing. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. So he should have the philosophy.
Right. So that's what I'm saying to you. So
had enough time to show some.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I said to you. This season for me was all about judging him based on can he establish.
Yeah, but I already think giving him that now to do it,
he should have done that already.
No, but
I'm sure that
you've seen some snippets of it at some, because first it was you don't have the players. He got some right, and then even like at that point, it was still no signs of trying to get. You know, like when you make the mistake, like you saw Tottenham do it, where they made a lot of mistakes trying to play a certain way, and then they played through it. I don't see that from United. I don't see them. But I see them still playing Oli football.
I also look at it like this. Yeah, last season he did a results-based management system. That's what I thought.
Or maybe that was philosophy.
No, but I'm saying to you, but essentially that's not what we look. The reality is you didn't sign Ten Hag to do a Conte job, right? So we always said.
I mean, he might have said halfway through, "Fuck it, I'm a results based. I'm a results based. This is
I'm just saying to you, like we base things off what the manager's shown previously, right? So from the jobs he's done, he's always been a manager. He went and worked under Pep at Barca, not Barca at Bayern, sorry, right? He's a manager that wants to play a certain type of football. That is what we know from his history, right? So last season,
Man United signed him. They said you have to do that.
No, but I'm saying to you, but I'll give you an example. If you're a builder, I am recruiting you based on the work that I've seen you do. You show me your portfolio, and I bring you in based on what you show me. I don't ask you. You don't show me that you built a car or you built a house before, and then all of a sudden you're doing things a different way to what you used to do before, right? It's like you're hired on your.
I mean, maybe you needed to do different.
What you're saying makes total sense. Like it's common sense, but it doesn't mean that everyone was working with the same common sense that you're bringing.
Yeah, but I'm just that can be true too. But that's what I'm saying to you. This season, because he didn't do it in his first season, I looked at it like, okay, he's done whatever he's done to get results. Now this season, you've got more of your players in. Show us what you're about. Show us who you are, what you want, what the team is, for them to play in your identity, and also consolidate where you are. He hasn't done none of those things. So therefore, he should go. Right? That was the minimum aim. Top 4 for Man United and a style of play means that they're one step closer to being a team where you look at them and be like, okay, they're building in a way of Liverpool. They're building in a way of City. They're building in a way of United. They've got an idea. They've got a fundamental, an idea of how they want to play. They're playing it. They're getting results, and they're in the Champions League again. Now the next step should be to compete for a title, bring in more players, add to that squad so that you can get closer to the likes of City and Liverpool. That is what I thought would be fair, right? Because it's hard to close the gap on these teams in just one window, right? So that was why I created that thing, and he's done none of it. So therefore, for me, he should bounce. He should be sacked, and they should be.
I'm team Ten Hag, innit? United, keep him. Let the wheels fall off. Keep rolling with that.
Oh yeah, as an Arsenal fan, keep it.
Yeah, I get
going back to the game though. We said Elanga comes back to haunt United as Nuno gets back-to-back wins. What was your thoughts on the actual performance?
Same old United, bro. Same old. No identity. Don't really know what they want to do.
Hit you on the counter attack. Yeah. They just want to hit you on the counter attack.
Right.
Pacey. There's nothing really there apart from that.
The subs were poor. I think he took off Kobe Mainu and brought on McTominay, and then that's when they conceded. It's just, he looks lost. You know what I mean? He looks like a fish out of water. But yeah, shout out Forest, bro, because you know, I mean, Elanga, he came out, he said he made, he felt it was personal. They didn't give him the respect, they didn't give him the opportunities. I mean,
there's a man so hard on live, bro.
You know what I'm saying to you? Man was dancing on the head top afterwards. You got Morgan Gibbs White, who I like, bro. I like Morgan Gibbs White as a player.
What is he, a 10 or an 8?
For me, he's naturally probably a 10. I mean, I like him because he's a bit of a throwback player. Like, he's got that running power, dribbling, he's direct, can shoot, uses both feet. I mean, I think he could probably play 8 as well, but I think he'd prefer to play in 10s. Most teams don't play with 10s in today's football, so he'd be an 8 for most teams. But he's a good player, man. Good athlete, good build, good technically as well. Homegrown, so I think he's got a good future, man. And I remember when he was first signed for 40-something M's. I remember a lot of people like turning their nose up here, but even myself, I hadn't really watched him, so I didn't really. When I heard he was going for that amount of money, I was like, oh, that's mad.
No, I was one of them too. I was like, yo, you guys just need to chill.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. And then the funny thing as well is he's a United fan as well. He's a boyhood United fan, so he crashed on the head top as well. And I think there was a clip. I'm not sure if you've not seen that clip on Twitter when. I don't know if it's before the game or half time or when he's like, look at their faces. Yeah, they don't want it.
Oh, and they clipped Ericsson, innit?
Yeah. So, I'm trying to say to you, that says it all, man. And you know what? Shout out to them. Nuno's doing.
All we need from United, just the last thing, Mr. White. How do you feel about Onana?
We almost let that slip.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, I'll be very honest with you. I think Onana's underperformed massively this season. I don't think for what he's shown previously, I don't think he's performed. And I'm happy to criticize him. I've never.
You know, if he's someone that was player of the tournament, one of the greatest goalkeepers, was. What was the comments? How can I go from being that to being the worst?
Yeah,
because you're rubbish. Not joking.
Bro, listen. The reality is that he's underperformed, and I think, and the reality is it a surprise at United? Because 95% of people, it's a graveyard right now. Everybody that goes to United dies. I mean,
if he wasn't playing for United, he would be considered up there in the conversation as the top three. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think confidence in football is huge, massive. I think confidence can make or break a player. When a player is devoid of confidence, they will look like the worst of the worst, right? And they can be a top player.
Remember this. Hold this.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Yeah. But I'm just saying to you, Onana has, just in general, a larger body of work as well. He's had a decent history. Yeah, he did well with Ajax in terms of Champions League campaign. Got to the Europa League final. I think as a teenager against United, where they got beat. He's got a decent track record. Went to Inter Milan, did his thing. So he's shown over the course of his career that he's a solid goalkeeper, a very good ball playing goalkeeper, better than an actual, an actual shot stopper, right? But he can offer something for the right team. I just think the way in which United are doesn't help him, and the fact is he's been poor himself. So I'm more than happy to criticize him.
He's playing exactly how I thought he would have played. To be fair,
yeah, he's just doing.
That's cool. I mean, you man never rated him, so that's a whole different conversation.
I thought he made more mistakes, but he's made enough.
I also think from a possession-based way as well. I just don't think United even play to utilize him to his strengths on the ball, because he's somebody that really, when we saw it in the Champions League final, he was very instrumental in helping Inter Milan get out of City's press, right? And that's a goalkeeper very comfortable on the ball. When do we see them utilize his strengths? They don't, because the manager he's the manager ain't managing. You know what I'm saying to you? So, right, it's like I always say, one of the manager's key skills is to get the best out of their players and to utilize them. Don't sign Onana if you just want a shot stopper. You sign Onana if you want someone who's going to help you build up from the back and create and dominate games. You don't want Onana having 20, 30 shots a game. That's not what he is. If you want that type of keeper, go sign a Nick Pope, sign a shot stopping specialist. Don't sign a ball playing specialist. Oh, and Edison's another one. I don't think Edison is a shot stopping specialist. He's a ball playing goalkeeper who's a decent shot stopper. Alisson is a rare breed because he's an elite shot stopper. And he's good, and he's good playing at the back.
You can say very good. Say it. Very good.
I don't think he's as good as Edison at playing at the back, right, with his feet. But he's the best shot stopper, and he's the most balanced goalkeeper in the world, and for me, the best goalkeeper in the world, because he offers both aspects of the game to a high level, right? I don't think Onana's that. So if you wanted something else, you might as well keep De Gea, because De Gea is probably a more natural shot stopper.
Agreed.
Could have kept Henderson too.
What are you saying? What we doing Tottenham before Arsenal?
Yeah, man.
No. I know what it's for.
The ends, you know.
He was hurt. You must have been Tottenham before. I ain't doing them customers before I do my own club, bro.
Bro, I thought we were doing this in terms of, well, actually, fuck it. Yeah. All right, Tottenham, man. Who wants to start on Tottenham, man?
I don't think any of us actually like to do it.
I know what I like the way they play. He's got them playing good football. Plays out of position. I see Ben Davis centre back, Emerson Royale centre back. They're doing a good job. They're playing the way that he wants them to play, regardless. I think it's a bit naive at times the way they do it, but they're an exciting team to watch. They're going to be up and down this year. They're going to get some good results, then they're going to get some bad results. But I think that's just the way it is. Like Mr. Wild said, they're in their first year of their process, and they've already established one thing, like one vital thing in their process. So I don't really have too many negatives, apart from the fact that they play a very naive brand of football sometimes. Sometimes I think you just need to
from the manager
look at what's going on and be like, this ain't making sense. So apart from that, I think they're exactly where they should be right.
I think they're overachieving massively, man. And I think Ange deserves a lot of credit. I mean, if we looked at the beginning of the season, I think a day before the season kicks off, they lose Harry Kane. And then we look at where they were, you know.
They already knew, though. They already knew. But I'm just saying to you, whether you know, you don't know, you lose your best player, right? For me, the best striker in the Premier League, I'd say, right? And I say that, I think he's the best striker because he's the most complete. He can do everything. Haaland is probably the best finisher in terms of the best goal scorer, should I say, in the Premier League. But for me, the best striker overall was Harry Kane because he could do everything. You lose one of the best players in the Premier League. You've had a horrendous season. You've got a lot of players that you don't deem good enough, right? The likes of Dyer, Emerson, Højbjerg, Davies, Brian Hill, who's a lightweight. You know, like you're looking at the thing, like there's so many players that have struggled to do the job at Tottenham. Richarlison, and he's got this team and he's got them to buy into his philosophy, right? They play really attacking football.
even though it's naive at times, I think the purpose of it is he wants his team to play his style of football. He wants to ingrain what he wants from his team, regardless. He doesn't want them to coward, to do anything other. And I think maybe we'll see if there's an evolution if he learns to, kind of, hold back a little bit, be a bit more more sound defensively at times. But he's really imprinted what he wants from them. And when you look at their performances, when you look at the way they attack, the way they score goals, you look at the fact that they're 1 point off the top 4, right? With all the injuries, I'm talking about their squad has been decimated. Let's keep it 100. Mickey, like Van der Ven, looked like a steal out of a centre back, right? Fast, strong, helped them with the high line. He's been out for a while. James Maddison, was looking like one of the signings of the season. He's been out. You know what I mean? They've had fucking Basuma, who's just getting red cards for fun, right?
That one don't count.
No, but I'm saying to you again. But regardless of it being, you might look at self-sabotage. It's still something that the managers had to navigate with. Benton Core's been out. I'm sure there's more players that come to mind that they've lost. Romero, they've just lost Romero for a few months. Yeah, so Sarr was out for a period of time. So when you look at what they've had to deal with, the injuries, they play all fullbacks, and to be where they are in the league, I think that's worrying for anybody competing in the top.
Do you think they're at the stage right now where you see where Arsenal were last year, where teams weren't sitting back at some points?
Say that again.
You see where Arsenal were at some points last year, where teams weren't sitting back, so it was easier for us to break teams down.
No, I don't think it's that. I think the way they attack, they are so gung, like they are so.
So do you think they're going to break down that low block?
I think they do because of one reason only. They create so many overloads, and they put so many bodies into that area where they just create chaos because of the numbers in that area. One of the, I don't think they're as intricate as a City to break down low blocks, but they do it in a different way. Just like maybe even I see Liverpool break down low blocks in a different way to City. I think their ways is just by flooding the box in the areas with so many men. Like you'll see Idoji in like the centre forward position from right back, right? From left back, sorry. That's mad. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? Pedro Porro inverts. They both invert at times. It's so fluid and so attacking that I think that's how they create so many chances. And shout out to Ange, because even as an Arsenal fan, it's not easy to say, but you have to give respect when respect is due. And they play good football, and you look at their performances and you be like, well, the way they attack is sustainable. They brought in 2 fullbacks into centre half and still grinded out results.
I remember we made top 4. These are centre backs.
What you said?
We did it. We played Henderson and centre back and these things there, still won the Super Cup and all these things there. So,
but you know what though?
It's not actually the first time it's happened, yeah, because we lost playing.
Hey, bro, hold on. Are you big Liverpool comparing themselves to Tottenham, bro? Are you really doing this? Bro?
No, I'm just saying it's been done before. I'm just saying it's been done before, bro. That's
again, you know what it is? I rate Klopp. Klopp's an experienced manager. You guys have got world-class players. You lot deserve credit for that. I'm not trying to take anything away, but it's more the fact that.
What did you say about Butts earlier? You did take credit from what you first said, right?
What?
I know you said earlier when you say a Butt, it takes credit from what you first said.
No, I'm not taking. I'm taking. But we're talking about Tottenham, and Tottenham ain't got a world-class manager. They ain't got a world-class squad. They ain't got a world-class squad, and their managers in the first six months of his job. So that's why I'm saying the Butt comes
halfway through. Where do you guys project Tottenham to finish?
I'll let Chinny go first because
I might have laughed and sat back, bro.
I'm just thinking about who I've got ahead of them. I have them 4th.
Oh?
No, I have them just outside. What?
3rd or 4th?
You have them 3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going off. I already know why he would have them 3rd, but it's off of actually the reasoning his reasoning for that combats reasoning for other stuff too. Like if the two reasons don't make sense together.
For me, I look at it like, well, the reason why I have him at third, right, or fourth, right, and I said one of the two is because they're 1 point outside the top four and they've been decimated by injuries, right? I reckon a lot of teams had the type of injuries that they've had, they would struggle. They brought in players that were not deemed good enough, right? The likes of Lo Celso were deemed a flop, Brian Hill, Højbjergs, Davies, Romero, Emerson's, and they've managed to get a tune out of these players and still generate results, right, and get them close to that position. Now, I think they're looking at signing a centre back from Genoa at the moment. I can't remember his name. Romanian centre back, really, right?
Song going to the Asian Cup.
Yeah, Son's going to the Asian Cup.
So the same aggression that you had for Salah leaving Liverpool, where is that now for Tottenham?
Okay, I'll tell you what it is though. I'm saying I've seen this manager, right? Because the difference between winning the league, getting top four and winning the league are two different things. They still attack in numbers. Their overall performances this season, to me, are sustainable, right? For top four. We're not talking about Liverpool.
I had them four. But I'm saying, you put the finish clearly not above Liverpool and Man City. You clearly put them third to finish above Arsenal, yeah?
I said third or fourth.
All right, but if they're going to finish third, they must be finishing above the rest.
All right, cool. No, but I'm saying there's a difference between what Liverpool needs to do to get to win the league, which is a much harder achievement than to get into the top 3 or 4. For me, that's they're different shouts, right? For Liverpool to win the league, they have to be almost perfect with Man City behind them, right? That is historically proven, right? City don't just hand over that league. And with KDB coming back, you need to, and what we said about City's next 10 games, they need results. Whereas Tottenham, top 4 race, as you know, you can win some, lose some, draw some. You just need to stay in and around it because everybody drops points. So as long as they perform and they put in performances, they can still generate enough to get into that conversation because it's not as hard, it's not as elite.
Hey, well, we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Boy, I feel putting them maybe above you guys' club. It's crazy. So that's a good time to start talking about you guys' club.
I didn't put him above.
All right. So you guys start with Arsenal. How'd you guys lose back to back?
Mr. Rice said he's got a booklet ready. So
I need a drink. Well, I'll let Chinny start first. So I need a drink first, but you know.
Well, you know, Arsenal last 3-4 games we've lost I think 3 in the last 4. And drawn 1 and won 1. Like we have definitely not been on the best of form, not only results wise, but performance wise. So it's a hard watch right now, and I haven't had to say that about my team for a long time. Consistently, we have games where we don't play well and win, and I understand that every team will have that. But I haven't had to consistently for 3, 4, 5 games say, you know what, I didn't like what I just saw about my team. Like, it was boring watching it. There's nothing going on. They look uncoached. They look clueless. And the last 3 or 4 games, I wouldn't say they look clueless because there's an idea, but I just don't feel like they're executing the plan with as much aggression as what they did last season. So obviously there's different things that affect that, injuries and whatnot, but we should still beat certain teams and play a certain way against certain teams. And that's my biggest issue, is the fact that even when we have got injuries and whatnot, we have a good enough squad, and there shouldn't be an excuse as to why we don't perform against certain teams. So yeah, it's hurting me right now. A few weeks ago, I was smiling, and right now I'm smiling through the pain.
That's a bust.
Oh man.
Oh,
heard it all before.
Oh yeah, lies.
Ain't working now.
I would have moved right down, boy. I would have moved down.
Yeah, it sounds like a funeral. I can't lie, but man got me emotional.
Being at the top early is difficult. It's difficult if you don't mindset as well, knowing how City are, knowing that City always go on the trot, and you know, in January as well, as I kept saying to everybody, being at the top early is difficult. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, lost it on the last day, stuff like that, or just been cleared out. I literally, bro. But one thing I will say is, again, I still don't think you guys were like. I think it's a terrible. No one's playing great, but I never pegged you guys to win it. I don't think you guys are playing well, but that happens in football. I know it's hard. It's a tough pill to take, but you're not blown out of the race. You're not blown out of the there are signs. I don't think you've played like, even I went back to the Brighton game, or you go back to the West Ham game. I feel like you guys had chances. It's just that was I mean, you had chances.
You're a really obviously you're not an Arsenal fan, so you watch it differently. As an Arsenal fan, we are very critical, some more than others. So we're very critical of our team. Yeah. Well, what you just said, like, there's been signs, but it's not enough. And Arteta and the players need to work on this not enough and work out how to produce this over a longer period of time. And it's not always, obviously, there's quick fixes. There's quick fixes that can be done. And then there's stuff that, as a manager, what he needs to do, and as a player, what they need to do when they step on that pitch needs to be better. Because right now, there's blame everywhere.
Because you say I've like experienced this. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, I remember at this point in our season where this happened and blah blah blah. But I do agree. I feel like if I'm being critical, I don't think you guys. I don't like. Personally, I don't think you have this. I didn't think if this was like a over the whole season, I don't think you have the squad to win the league. I never thought you did. I thought you'd be in and around the mix. I think you guys are playing well. You had a great season last season, and City's just gonna come and do what City do. And it's just unfortunate because, again, if City weren't doing what they were doing, this would be a much more open race.
I think Mr. Y makes some good points off here because, and I really just think about them afterwards after I finish arguing with him in the group chat. But like he says, that our starting 11 is capable of competing with most teams in the world. But football's not about one game and one game. It's about, well, especially the league, it's about a whole season and what you can produce through adversity, through injury, like through everything.
Can't think about that, Faye.
No, he said in the group, while I was watching the game, he's like, the difference is we have to bring on, like, we're chasing goals and we're chasing game and we need to like step up, and we're bringing on Reece Nelson. And yeah, Reece Nelson can do a little bit, and he scored that goal last year, and everyone's like, ooh. But he's not the player that you want to bring on to change the game when your team's in the like not doing well. You need something. The team needs something. You see when like Saka or Saliba's sitting at the back and Gabriel, and they're looking over and they're seeing Reece Nelson coming on. They're not thinking, yeah, we're going to get a goal. They're thinking, yo, we still got to play this slow little way and try and work as a team to get the ball in the net. It's different than when Liverpool are bringing on Nuno. Van Dijk's looking like, all right, he's going to cause chaos up there. We're going to cause a few more issues and we're going to create a few more chances. It's different.
That's why I purposely said squad and not starting 11, because it's a long season, especially being in competitions and whatnot, and it's injuries and like Saka plays every game for you guys. Salah obviously
90 minutes.
No, bro, exactly. So it's hard, and I remember that when we first bought Salah and Salah was doing it, when you take him off, obviously you see some games he rested, comes off the bench. I'm like, why are we starting Salah and whatnot? But when you've got somebody who's producing, and even on days when they're having, obviously not the last few games, but when they're days when they're performing at a 7 or less than that, they're still doing something or making a difference. And I feel like I understand this process. It's like, but it's a squad, in it. Like every player at some point is going to have to play a part, and on the bench it's not looking that great, and you need at least a couple of players that come on. And I'm not saying like just someone that come on and play like, for us, we didn't got no one's gonna come on the pitch and play like Salah, but you need to be able to bring on somebody who you can go, like you said, okay, they do have a goal in them. They you know what I mean? So it's hard. We had Minamino years ago, and he was
so hard. Yeah. You know, you are so lucky that we don't do we haven't done a watch along, because I don't know if I could take back some of the stuff that I say live, because when I'm watching the game, my feelings are so like it hurts sometimes, and I'm saying stuff, and then I look back and like, I don't know, man, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. But yeah, obviously the difference is we need to buy players that are we play very good as a unit and as a team. And if another team are also a good unit, it's very hard to deal with them because we don't have them special players, the KDBs, the Haalands, the Dokus that are going to do the 1v1s, the Trents. Like, we don't have these special players that either stop the other team from doing something or make us do something. And the only one that's on their way to doing that is Saka, and he's not doing it as often as we need him to do. He needs some more help, and that's the issue. We need.
Do you guys hold him to fault? Do you hold your manager to fault for Saka?
It's not Saka's fault. Obviously, he can do better game by game. Everyone can do better game by game.
I hold them both to fault,
but it's not his fault right now.
I mean, I always feel like again he takes some criticism there and so manager, but you're talking about someone that plays every game 90 minutes most of the time or over 80 minutes, young still good player, but again I still think there's so much more he can add to his game.
Yeah, you have to realize, you see Salah, when he became a world beater, he wasn't 22, 21, 22. And there's only one person that was a world beater at this age. Maybe two. Maybe Wayne Rooney, but then he was playing in United's team, and you have Mbappe.
Well, Eden Hazard. Listen, Messi was a world beater at them ages. Ronaldo was. Eden Hazard was.
Ronaldo at 20, 21.
We'll talk about 22. You said 22. Eden Hazard was at Chelsea doing bits
as a world beater. You have to. I'm talking about Saka's not in that Chelsea. Saka's not in that United team. It's a very different scenario.
But I also feel like when you hold players to certain levels, right? So we've all said that Saka's been performing at a world-class level for about 18 months, we say, right? I would never call him world-class because
a lot of your fans call him world-class machine.
Yeah, I'm saying, but listen, you can only hold me accountable to what I say.
No, of course. I like to dip my toe in the Twitter.
Well, listen,
tell y'all what Twitter's saying. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, if I put some of the stuff Liverpool fans say on Twitter.
No. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is all fan bases are a bit, you know what I mean? Let me not say nothing because I might get myself cancelled, but you know what I mean, right? So Liverpool, so we hold Saka to world-class standards, right? In terms of performance-wise, yeah? He's been performing at that level. Now, when you've set that precedent, there's an expectation base, right? You've shown your levels. Now, yes, you can dip, and yes, it does happen, but if you are somebody who wants to be the best, or you're looking at trying to break into that actual world-class category from being a world-class performer, this is what's expected of you, right? So
I can make one that drags his team. So one of the world-class young players that don't already play for the best team that drag their team through. Give me one person that does it.
What, right now? Well, we're talking about young.
Give me one that has dragged their team without their team being already more or less the best team. Give me a player that's done it.
But for me, I'm not looking at Saka to drag the whole team. I'm looking at Saka in regards to his own performances. So I'm not like, in terms of, so what you're asking is can he do what Messi does? I'm not expecting Saka to do what Messi does. I'm expecting Saka to have a level performance that is judged in merit to himself. What is he doing on that pitch himself? I'm not expecting him to go there, dribble past 5 players, bang it top corner. That's not expected, right? The same as can be said of Martinelli. It's what are you doing when you do have the ball, right? How are you applying yourself and what are you doing? But listen, I have, right, as a football scholar, I have a 3-step systematic breakdown of what's gone wrong at this club, yeah? Right?
Just free.
I think, just a 3-step, yeah? Right? And the first one starts with recruitment, yeah? And let's start from the summer. Yeah, let's start from the summer. Now, last season we had
fixed up when it comes to Liverpool, but I must start coming minds. Jesus.
Yeah. All right. So what? Last season we had Granit Xhaka. Now, say what you like about Granit Xhaka, whether you loved him or you hate him. Last season he was an all-round midfielder for us, right? In the sense of he played as a deep line playmaker, a box crasher. He would tuck in when Zinchenko would invert. Yeah, right.
Hey, he's reading his notes properly.
Right. No. I think these are things that I think he would overlap, right? And then what did we do? We signed Havertz, yeah?
Wait. We didn't sign Havertz to play left CM.
All right, hold on. Don't worry, I'll touch on that. Bear with me, right? He only offers one of those qualities, which is box crashing, yeah? Now, when you look at Rice is a ball winner, right? So even if he was to play, if you want to put him as an 8, right? I know what Chinny's going to say is, but he was signed to play 8. Now, Rice naturally is not a...
I don't think he was signed to play 8. I think he was signed to play 8 this season while we transitioned Thomas Partey out also this season.
No, but all right, cool. But I'm just saying to you, essentially what I'm saying to you is even for this season, he was going to play 8, he still doesn't offer what was a winning formula for us last season in terms of it was successful. Our midfield was the backbone of our success. That partner Xhaka pivot, right, was very instrumental to how we played, right? So my question is even if Rice did come in, right, and played 8, yeah, is he a natural deep lying playmaker? No, he's not a natural ball play thing. That's not his strength. He's somebody who's better when he receives the ball and he drives into space. He's more of a runner, right, which Xhaka is not. He's not a left footer.
So you wanted to replace Xhaka exactly the same, just a bit better.
Right, exactly. We wanted
the same qualities but better.
Right, so maybe a Paqueta. We were looking at Gundogan, right, who would offer us similar qualities to Xhaka, right, and help us keep that continuity of what made us a successful team, right, in terms of helping us build up from the back, comfortable, quick passes between the lines. Is Declan Rice a natural attacker? Plays in pockets? No. So even that pairing, for me, doesn't necessarily give us what we had last season. So to dismantle that didn't make sense.
First of all, he didn't dismantle it. Xhaka wanted to leave.
No, but I'm saying to you, but when you don't sign anybody that replicates what we had last season, remember, you're signing somebody who offers complete different qualities. So the whole midfield dynamic is changing, right?
Transfers are like done between more than one person. One person has to want the player. The other team has to want to sell the player. The player then has to want to go.
But I'm just again, regardless of Xhaka leaving, I'm not saying we should have kept Xhaka, but I'm saying to you, regardless who you sign and how you when you lose players, like when Liverpool replace Salah, for instance, it has to be a process that they're trying to find a way to replicate what he offers, right? Whether it's maybe 2 signings, whether it's 1 signing, there's a way in which you do that. We have completely changed what made us successful last season, right? I believe the Partey and the Declan Rice would work very well against big teams. You play City, you play Liverpool, you play the elites in Europe. Those two as a 6 and an 8, as 2 sitters who can alternate, right, would work well. But when you're playing against the dirty, nastiest low blocks, that's not a midfield that is naturally going to help break them down, right?
I agree. We also have players that would have played that role that are currently injured.
Right, and now let's take it even further, right, to January. Yeah, we signed.
Still on point 1.
Yeah, we're still on point 1. Now let's take it to January. We signed Trossard and Jorginho. Yeah, right. Remember who we targeted? Mudryk and Jorginho. Mudryk is a touchline winger, explosive, happy, exploit space. Trossard is the complete opposite. Yeah, you want Trossard closer to the box. He can't run at people, right? Jorginho, a conductor. Yeah, right. We wanted Caicedo, a ball winner, right? Who can play 8, can play right back. Again, 2 complete opposite profiles. But what we've done is essentially we've signed 2 squad players when we really have squad players in the team that don't move the needle. Reece Nelson.
We had this conversation, because I brought it to the group the other day.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation,
yeah.
If the player is not available, do you buy a player because you obviously need to make sure that injuries don't interrupt the system, or do you just buy no one and just pray to God?
I think what you do in that regards, is you either try and go for a loan signing, but I don't think when you're a team like Arsenal, when we've got enough players that are squad players that are not good enough to move to actually fight for to actually get a position in the first team, to sign more squad players that don't move that needle is, to me, counterproductive, right? Because if you look at it, we're a team that we need to really strengthen the 11, and the players that we strengthen the 11 from go onto the bench, as opposed to we're a Liverpool where we've already got a solid team, and you're just wanting to add more players to that bench, for instance, to kind of improve. So, you know what I'm saying to you? Like,
So would you have signed no one? You would have left it. Said,
I'm saying to you, look, signing no one is not necessarily a thing. You could have signed someone on loan, right? You could. That is probably the better choice of business. Or you go out and you sign your second target, right? If you can't sign a Mudryk, at least sign a profile that's similar. Why would you go?
The player still has to be available. The other team have to.
I'm saying to you, available. When you're willing to drop 100 M's on Mudryk, you're willing to drop 80, 90 M's on Caicedo. You can sign somebody else.
You think then we tried to
give me one player that you can sign someone else that the other team are going to sell. And
I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Nico Williams had a release clause of 45 M's last season.
The player still has to say yes.
You think he plays for Atletico Bilbao. You're telling me he's not saying yes to Arsenal? Are we really on this belief?
He only wants to go to Barcelona, so yeah.
Well, we're talking about last summer, right? And that's not the case, actually. But I'm saying to you, last summer, you can double, triple his wages. And then let's look at squad depth, which is the second point, yeah? Arsenal have a front line of Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, Trossard, Nelson. That is our forward line. Let's compare it to Liverpool's, right? Salah, Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, Jota, right? You got Elliott, who sometimes fills in as well in that attack on that right side, and then they've got even a youngster in Ben Doak. How does that front line compare to them? Then let's look at City's Haaland, Doku.
By the way, this has taken Klopp 8 years. It's taken Pep how many years?
But again, right, we're looking at it objectively for the season, right? I'm not
objectively, because you gave Man United how much time to build their squad and to build their philosophy.
But again, but I'm saying to you, had we made the recruitment properly last January, that wouldn't be an issue. If you'd signed players that are better, if you signed another winger, right, who was better than Reece Nelson, for instance, you'd have that other winger in there. If you had, that's how it works, right? So it's all about.
You just have to plug different gaps at different times, and it's a process, like you say, over years.
No, but listen, what we do this, we can make excuses. I'm just talking factually speaking.
I'm using you say that Man United they didn't do this, and they're going to need this process, and it's going to be this.
Bro, we've also had 4 seasons, right? So let's also keep it.
And Klopp had 8. He's in his 9th.
No, but and how long did it take for Klopp to win something substantial? No?
Whoa.
How long did it take to win the league? 5 years?
No, what was it? 5 years. Klopp, how many seasons did Klopp win something in? Third season?
Fourth
season? Okay, so that's where we're at now. Okay, so that's where we're at now. And right now we're not there. Right now we're not there. Let's keep it 100. Now going back to it, City have Haaland, Doku, Foden, Grealish,
90.
Bernardo, yeah, and then they can play Oscar Bob there. Even Tottenham, yeah, they still have Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Manor Solomon, Gill.
Who do you blame for recruitment to wrap this point up? Who do you hold responsible for the recruitment?
Again, I hold the manager and Edu and
the conversation that's why
I hold the whole club accountable, because again, like I say to you, if you sign squad fitters in January who don't move the needle, you're just having players. And if Saka was out for 4 months or Martinelli was out for 4 months, how do you think Arsenal would fare with Reece Nelson or Trossard holding that width?
We wouldn't, but football's a business.
But I'm just saying to you again. But I'm just saying to you.
We wouldn't.
How wise do you think it was, essentially, right? Because we're talking hindsight, right? Which is cool. I'm just saying to you, how wise do you think it is in signing a player that you do not want, you do not deem a long-term profile for what you actually wanted? These are the reasons why I ask these questions, because we, as supporters, we're supposed to hold our club accountable.
We always have big issues. Like we have currently, I left back. Tomiyasu's gone to Asian Cup. Timber's been out the whole season. Zinchenko is always injured here, there, and he can't defend that well anyway. So right now, we're like, okay, we need a left back. What do we do? What would you do?
Well, right now?
Yeah, we need a left back right now, because Arsenal, Zinchenko's currently injured, and when he's not, he can't defend. Tomiyasu's gone, and Timber's out. So what would you do?
So right now, they'll have to be creative in terms of either trying to scout the loan market or trying to maybe get a loan with an obligation, right?
That is big enough. Like, our team's going to be willing to give you very good left backs in January with a loan.
again, if you can't, again, alone with the obligation is something you would do for a target that you really want, yeah, in terms of that someone you believe in. If you can't get a target that you really want, and you have to get a squad filler in, then you don't want to have him on your books for the next 3 to 5 years and then be struggling to sell them. The likes of Cedric, the likes of, I'm sure we've all seen at other clubs, right? Where you sign a player who you don't necessarily want, who's not necessarily part of the long-term vision, but then ends up staying longer than you actually need, and you don't end up strengthening that position. So
what was your third point?
The third point was on Arteta and actually the performances, right? And the question is for me, I think questions need to be asked to the manager, right? Like, is he getting the best out of the bench and the squad players that we do have? Even though I don't rate the squad players, right? I'm saying I don't rate them as highly as other players. Is he doing that, right? Because you look at the Zerbi, right, and that squad is decimated, right? But even though they're missing key players, they're getting respectable results. They're in a respectable position in the league, right? They got top of the Europa League group, and he's even brought in young players like Hinshelwood, and he's getting a tune out of them, right? You look at Tottenham, and you look at Ange getting performance out of players like Emerson, Brian Hill, you know, Lo Celso, Richarlison, Højbjerg, all these players that they wanted gone, yeah, Dyer, right? They're finding ways to make it work, right? The question is Arteta, like, even like when, for instance, I'm not a big fan of Trossard, I've said it here, but when he's asked to play left wing, he's asked to do the exact same things that Martinelli is when he's not physically capable, right? Where is the adjustment in that? Like, look at Pep, for instance, when he uses Bernardo. He don't use Bernardo the same way he uses Doku, right? He'll use
Does he ask Trossard to like running behind and stuff though?
It's not about thing, but the way he holds, the way in which Trossard, the way in which we still operate Trossard is he's still asked to try and attack his man. Look at the way in which Bernardo Silva is used, for instance, when he plays on the wing.
That's due to not just Trossard. It's due to the fact that we don't have a Tierney. Someone has to give you a different option if you're taking off that running option, and we don't have that.
But I'm saying to you, it's also done by the midfield options. So, for instance, when Jack Grealish or Bernardo play the wing, although they're not pacey enough or direct enough, you have midfielders. They're midfielders doing overlaps.
And who's our players that would do it in that game?
Well, I'm saying we've got Havertz there, right? So essentially,
he's not that guy. But the other two that would do it, who are they?
What, Vieira?
One's Vieira, who's injured.
All right, and then who's the other one?
Rice.
But I'm saying to you, at the minute, you can only listen again. You can only use what you can use, right? When we're looking at Tottenham and they've got all fullbacks and centre half, we're not sitting here making excuses for them when they don't win.
I agree with you. I'm so critical of Arsenal more or less in my own head here, but I'm very critical of Arsenal. I don't like when Arsenal fans overreact to Arsenal being bad, but underreact to other teams being bad.
Well, but I'm just saying that
Arsenal at a point where we're like, oh my god, we're so bad. Oh my god, we're 5 points off the top. Oh my god, we finished top in our Champions League group. Like, it's not really that. Oh my god.
No, I hear what you're saying, but essentially what you also got to look at is where we are right now, and you have to look at what the manager's doing with what he has, and that is my biggest thing, right? When Trossard plays, why isn't there a tactical tweak to get him closer to the box where players don't want to touch him? Because if they do touch him, you know, it's a penalty, right? You get him as close to the 18-yard box. Why are we asking him to try and attack space? Obviously, he can't run in behind. He hasn't got the physical capability. But why isn't there an adjustment of tactics? Because that's what the best managers do, right?
Okay, he does need to do more. He's learning. He's learning on the job, innit?
Right. So right now, and that's what I'm saying. The manager right now is, and I've been somebody who's been a fan of the manager. He's underperforming, right? A lot of teams right now are dealing with injuries, suspensions, and have managed to get injuries. Yeah. So when I hear, oh, it's because of Partey's injured, right, from Arsenal, from a large section of Arsenal fans, I'm like, we can't be that thing, or even, you know, or Vieira's injured, because there are teams that are dealing with a lot more and are still getting results, right? So even like performances, right? I think our performances have been underwhelming. We've shown a lot of control, but we don't create much, right? And I've always kept this consistent. When Tottenham had Conte, I used to criticize him because I said it wasn't consistent. They were conceding too many chances, and their shooters were just shooting. Yeah, they went machine for machine. They weren't they're not anywhere like Liverpool, because Liverpool are a lot more defensively sound than Tottenham were. But Tottenham were just conceding chance after chance, but they were just outscoring teams. And I said that wasn't sustainable. Arsenal not creating enough chances but being defensively sound is not sustainable because you can't expect.
We're not like that. We scored the most amount of goals in the league, conceded one of the least.
What this season? But I'm saying to you,
still.
But I'm saying a lot of our goals are from set pieces, regardless of what you say. I'm not talking about. I'm just saying to you.
Yeah, they weren't. So they've got to come from somewhere.
No, they do have to come from somewhere. But you also got to look at what's sustainable. Are you going to keep on scoring all your goals from set pieces? Right, a team as good as Arsenal should really be creating more chances from open play. We look at the West Ham game and everyone's like, oh, we had 30 shots. But how many of them shots were clear-cut opportunities, right? There weren't many. We didn't create many. Look at Liverpool's XG yesterday. I think there was a stat that came out. Yeah, this is mad. In that game alone, Nunes had more XG than Martinelli's had all season, right? In just one game. So the club ain't created enough. And it's the reason why when Tottenham, for instance, drop points to West Ham or they've dropped points to Aston Villa, they performed well. Where I'm like, you know what? I can see performances wise, like they can get somewhere. There's something to go off. Right? The result shit.
Perform well going forward.
Right, but that's again, you got to also look at the fact that they've been hit for injuries and they've lost those games to individual errors. As have we, but I'm saying to you, they're still creating loads of chances. Right? When I look at Arsenal, I'm like, we're creating 1 or 2 chances, and then we're complaining that like Villa, oh, we didn't score them chances. But it's like, how many of those chances are clear-cut opportunities? That's the reason why I rate Liverpool so highly. They pepper teams. They create so many chances, right, that they're bound to score goals, right? And that is what's got them to where they are right now, right? And we talk about Saka. Saka's produced moments, but again, has he had a Premier League game where he's been sensational for 90 minutes, right? Like you can keep on doing moments and moments and moments, but I'll give you an example. You see Salah. Salah's a clutch player, right? He does moments and moments and moments. But if for 15 games now he didn't produce no moments, right, and his performances weren't at the level, because I don't think he's as electric as he was 2-3 seasons ago, right? If he doesn't produce those moments, people will have conversations about his overall performance. Salah is just a special player because he can continue to produce those moments even if he isn't doing the most. That is thing. Same with Martinelli. Bro, not did horrible hit and run, ignores Havertz, and then people will say, "Oh, it's that left side." And yeah, I agree. The left side ain't doesn't optimize him to his best. But when he's got easy chances, is he doing what he should be doing? No. Does he ignore Havertz? Yes. So did it prevent him missing easy chances of West Ham and Brighton? So it's like right now there's a massive issue at the club where it stems from 3 things. And if they don't change, if they don't make key changes, whether that be to recruitment moving forward, they don't make key changes. The manager doesn't utilize the bench. The manager don't trust the bench at all. He doesn't. He waits until the 70th minute. He Hail Marys. You know what I'm saying to you? Reece Nelson, please come on. This player, please come on. And it's, inshallah, we hope some way we get a result. There's no faith. You see Liverpool the other day, they're like, yeah, cool. Who are we bringing on? Jota, come on. Yeah. Who else came on the other day for you lot? It was against Newcastle. It was Jota, Gakpo, and then what happens? They get a result. When we bring on players, there is literally it's roulette, bro. You're just spinning the thing, and you just open it out of your mouth.
To wrap this up here, just so I understand where your head's at with Arsenal. Where do you see Arsenal finishing this season?
Like I said, right now, I'm going to keep it 100. Yeah, right now with the performances and the fact that we do not create enough, I do not think if we do not improve in that regards, right? If the manager doesn't make tweaks, I think at the moment we are in a trajectory to be in a top 4 fight as opposed to a title challenge. That is based on our attack, because this whole season I've been predicating on, we're doing more control, but I'm hoping we're going to kick into gear and show aspects of what we did last season. We haven't done that. Other than Champions League games, we haven't done that in the league for me.
So where is that? 4th, 5th, 3rd?
I'm saying to you, we're in a top 4 fight. I'm from 3rd.
What are you saying?
I would say, like I said, 3rd to 4th. Right now, we're 3rd to 4th. and that's based on performances. Because if we look at Tottenham have been massacred, and they're only 1 point behind us. So do you honestly, genuinely feel comfortable to say when they get Van der Ven back, they get Maddison back, Bentancur back, Basuma comes back from AFCON, they're not going to be in a situation where they can actually start doing things? Because remember, at the beginning of the season, they were near the top of the league before the injuries, and it's only after the injuries that they fell off.
Football's not always about I have this player back, so that means I'm automatically going to perform better. I mean, it gives you a higher chance, yeah, but that doesn't always work.
It doesn't. But are you sitting here telling me the probability doesn't go up extremely high when you've got Emerson? When you're playing
based on what I know of Tottenham, I'm happy to sit here and say that they won't go through the whole season exactly the same.
I'm not saying they're going to go through the same.
I'm confident to say that they will have a drop.
But do you not think they've got enough shooters to win games? That's where we differ.
They have enough to do it. Doesn't mean they're going to do it.
No, but I'm just saying.
We'll have to see. We have to see with Tottenham what happens with Tottenham. I think we'll play the long game and see.
Let me ask you a question as a neutral. Do you think Tottenham have more shooters, or do you think Tottenham have more shooters than Arsenal right now?
No. They have one.
And we have none. Who's our shooter?
I mean,
if you're looking at goal scorers, they have more forwards. Their forwards got more goals than your forwards.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to you, do they have
this season?
But I'm just saying to you, in general, Son, right, has shown historically that he is
he's a better shooter than all your players.
He's a finisher. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is we don't have one.
Outside of him, who's left?
Yeah, but I'm just saying to you, that's one. But we don't. Who do Arsenal have? Gabriel Jesus.
We have a unit.
That's a good point. I think that's a good place to wrap up our New Year's first show, because I'm writing all these notes down. I'm dying to see it when the season ends. I'm pulling up all of these.
I'm dreading the next show after the FA Cup game this week, and I'm not even thinking about anything past that. But, yeah.
Bro, when I was watching Liverpool versus Arsenal, I was with Arsenal fans, and we went down within 10 minutes, or whatever it was. I was like, watch alongs, they almost broke my heart, man. And then obviously we came back, we should have won, boom. But I think it's a good time to wrap up. I want to say again,
quick on, we go. Predictions, FA Cup game. What you said?
3-1 Liverpool.
1-1 replay. Go to Anfield and lose.
What an Arsenal. A whole 20 minutes casting Arsenal because 1-1.
Bro, because I'm just saying, because Salah's gone. If Salah was there, I'd be a bit more, you know what I mean? I'd say 3-1 more comfortably. I just think Salah is always our kryptonite. Him, Bobby, and they've got Jota there, so they've got one of the kryptonites there. But
yeah, we'll probably start Jota outright, and I like Jota out on the middle, left cutting in.
Oh,
left. The middle cutting in on the left, cutting in from the left. Personally,
yeah.
I'm glad to be back, man. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man. Be interesting, bro. Be interesting, but yeah, man.
All right, so I just want to say to everybody who tuned in, thank you. It's good to be back, like Chinny said, and Mr. Y. Thank you to my co-hosts, Lil Chinny and Mr. Y. I want to say, make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting, just get involved, following us on everything. We're on everything. And yeah, just hit us up, But again, if we don't see you through a window, we'll see you through a window.
Yeah, man. Love people. And hopefully we get a dub on Sunday, innit?
Go away, bro. Go away.
What are you doing? Bro, stop twisting up your face like that, bro.